Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to our MPTV Coaches Show. We've got another great show in store for you this week. We'll hear from Coach Hurst, Coach Briley, and we'll take you behind the scenes of a couple things going on in Potters sports. I'm Ryan Lindley, joined by Eric Myers. And Eric, let's start with that girls golf team.
Yeah, girls golf team finished 7th in state last week, which is pretty awesome. You know, it was one of those things. It's like, well, we don't get there very often, you know, once a decade or so. So us to get our team to state was one of those things. Finished 7th. Reagan Breaker was 26th. Abby Nierkirk 33rd. Mid Illini champs, top 3 tournament scores in school history. It's just kind of one of those never-ending stories, right? It's a really good season, and I actually had the opportunity to sit down real quick with Coach Hurst yesterday to get his thoughts on how state weekend went last weekend. So let's go talk to Coach Hurst.
Well, it was a great weekend. First of all, proud of the girls for getting to state. That doesn't happen very often. It's a format where you have to qualify from the first day. Out of 12 teams, the top 8 get to play on the second day. So that was one big goal of ours, and obviously we did that. We finished in 6th place on the first day. You kind of look at the scores and you think, well, where could we end up? And we were really striving to get to that 5th place spot, but unfortunately we had a couple tough holes down the stretch and we ended up finishing 7th overall. Individually, our top 2 girls, Reagan Breaker, she finished in the top 20. I think she was 26th, and Abby Newkirk, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was 34th overall. So great end of the season. Proud of the girls. Accomplishment they're going to be proud of for a long time.
Tremendous to hear from Coach Hurst, and I can tell he's just brimming with pride with the season the girls had.
100%. He was more than willing to talk to us. So what do we got going on next? We had some boys soccer last night, right?
Yeah, boys soccer. You know, it obviously has been a very competitive season for the boys soccer team. Let's go back to last week just for a second. They tied Sacred Heart 1-1, and Sacred Heart's always a really tough team. So coming off of a big win over Dunlap, you tie Sacred Heart, but that was all really kind of the preamble for playing Washington last night.
I mean, always one of those great things when you play your rival, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this one was a little bit special because it was a rivalry game for the conference title. Potters 3-1 winners, Mid Illini champs. We had a chance to do a little bit of a recap of that game. So let's take a moment and take a look at this.
Last week, the Potters soccer team hosted Dunlap in an exciting Mid Illini Conference matchup. With just under 9 minutes remaining, the Potters got a late goal, which led them to the victory. That 1-0 win set up the Potters this week to play Washington in a game that would determine the Mid Illini Conference champion. The Potters traveled to Babcock Field in Washington on Tuesday evening to take on the Panthers, and it was the Potters who got on the board first, as you can see here. With that momentum and that early goal, the Potters were able to continue that later in the first half, and you'll see here the Potters once again finding the back of the net. A 2-0 Morton halftime lead led to a lot of energy and enthusiasm and created an opportunity to score again early in the second half. Potters go and play a long ball here, and that one will find the back of the net, and the Potters are ahead 3-0. Washington would eventually get 1 goal, but the final score, Potters 3, Panthers 1. The Morton Potters are Mid Illini Conference champs.
Big thank you to the Washington YouTube channel for broadcasting that. Got some highlights off of there, but I mean, really, just a great season for Coach DeLong and the soccer Potters, and now they're just gearing up for that postseason run.
Yeah, great way to end this regular season on a win and head of that postseason like you're talking about. We do have a really, let's say tough postseason draw, but we'll get there, right?
Yeah, you know, it might see a rematch with those Panthers, so I mean, certainly would be motivational if that happens.
Definitely. Well, girls swim and dive are going to swim at the Galesburg meet on Saturday as a final tune-up before their conference meet on October 22nd there at Pekin.
So wish them the best of luck. Another team getting ready for the postseason is girls tennis. Their sectionals are at Metamora October 15th and 16th, so really this Friday and Saturday, so I know they're excited about that and getting ready to make a push at sectionals and hopefully maybe qualify somebody for state.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, obviously it's Tuesday, Wednesday for this week, so I'm assuming practice is going to get rained out a couple days this week, which is going to be pretty tough there for those girls tennis, but hopefully they can get it, and hopefully by now they're in that tune for ready to go for postseason. Moving on, girls volleyball went 3-2 at the Bloomington Central Catholic Tournament, played at Illinois Wesleyan. They beat Mount Zion, DMAC, and St. Teresa, but they lost to IVC and a really, really good U High team.
Yeah, I think the 2 teams they lost to were really quality opponents. I think again another team gearing up for the postseason. You want to play those tough teams in that run up to the postseason. Makes you all the better when you get into those postseason matches.
Kind of, you can also as a coach figure out where do I stand, who's doing really well, who's peaking at this time. Volleyball is a fairly long season, kind of like football, so you can really understand what do we need to do? What minor improvements can we make from the strategy standpoint to maybe give ourselves a little chance at a nice postseason run there? So congrats to girls volleyball. Good luck. Cross country, Lady Potters were 6th at the Gene Jones Invite at Metamora with Sophie Kruger leading the way at 17. Boys were 3rd with 3 top 12 finishes from Josh Weeks, Jonas Wuchert, and Chase Souter. Obviously another team that's rolling right there. You know, we talked to Coach Zeller, we keep bringing this up, but he wants to bring home one of those trophies.
Yeah, he does. And I mean, obviously the boys side, I mean, tremendous with 3 top 12 finishers at what is a huge, huge invite. And then the girls, I mean, have been on target too. I mean, Sophie Kruger's having a great year. See her in the top 20, top 15 in almost every race. So should be exciting to see where the cross country teams go.
Always keep it going. Well, Coach, we had some interesting developments in the football realm last week. You want to just take us through some of those?
Yeah, so freshman football beat East Peoria's Frost Soft team 46-33, and some of you are probably wondering, why are we talking about the freshman game?
Because freshman games are important, Coach.
They are.
As a freshman coach,
that is true.
I love the love.
That is true. And there's, I mean, obviously we do value the freshmen and the experience that you all as freshman coaches, whether it's you on the baseball side or Coach Gashaw and Coach Tucker on the football side, the important building blocks of a program. But the freshmen got kind of the spotlight this week because East Peoria chose to forfeit the varsity game. Some injuries on their side of things. They had some safety concerns. Ultimately, that does go down as a win for the varsity Potters. So 4-3 record overall now, but kind of a strange way to get that 4th win.
It is, very much is, and you know, we hope nothing for the best for East Peoria. You know, get those guys back healthy and keep playing some games here. But what does that do from a program standpoint? We talk about now you have an off Friday in the middle of the year, not enough time to reschedule a game in there to get somebody in, but you only have 2 weeks left versus 2 really stellar opponents. So what does the coaching staff do when that happens? What do you do on a Friday night?
Yeah, so I mean, kind of interesting is what we ended up doing is we went over to Washington High School to watch Washington and Dunlap, who are our next 2 opponents. Dunlap first this week and then Washington following week. So, I mean, kind of strange being in the stands on Friday night as opposed to on the sideline and watching Dunlap and Washington play. There is something to be said, though, for seeing it in person. I mean, certainly would have loved to have played a game. I mean, obviously you want to get as many games as you can, you know, and whether that's the 9 regular season games or hopefully like last year going to the postseason and maybe get 3 or 4 more games. But I mean, at the same time, seeing a game in person and seeing your next 2 opponents in person is something you rarely ever get to do in football because pretty much everybody plays on Friday night. And so I think it was valuable, and I think there are a few things we picked up about those 2 teams that hopefully we can put to good use the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and speaking of those next 2 weeks, I had the opportunity to swing down yesterday and talk to Coach Briley. So let's hear from Coach Briley on what he's thinking as he goes through these last couple weeks of preparation here for the Morton Hogs.
Yeah, we are currently 4-3, coming off of a forfeit win versus East Peoria. That was kind of the first time something like that's happened to me, or us here at Morton. So a little bit different week, kind of like a bye week, and we're coming into our last 2 games of the season against 4-3 Dunlap and also 4-3 Washington, and all 3 of us are fighting for our chance to make the postseason. So it should be a pretty interesting 2 weeks.
So does that bye week help or hurt Potters going in?
I guess you really won't know till Friday. I felt like we had a really good practice on Friday, a good physical practice, but the opportunity to get healthy and not only from sicknesses and stuff like that, and a little bit bumps and bruises, overcome that stuff, and not have that wear and tear of a week late in the season, which I'm sure that'll help somewhat. But at the same time, we still need to continue to get better on and off the field.
So how do you keep the seniors' emotions in check going into a big game Friday night at Carper Field?
Yeah, I think we just kind of try to focus on us, and just our kind of motto is just let loose and have fun these last 2 weeks, and whatever happens, happens. We're not going to worry too much about the results and kind of focus on what we can control and kind of go from there. That's kind of our motto.
So speaking of control, what are the keys to the last 2 games of the season?
We're going to have to continue to improve offensively. We've been playing really good defense these last 2 weeks that we have played, and we've gotten better each week offensively. But as our opponents get tougher, we're going to have to figure out ways to run the football consistently, and just continue to find ways to score points. I think we've gotten better each week, and we just need to continue to see that growth.
We're going to see some more passing like we did in that last game.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, we want to continue to grow with that, and we have a good group of core receivers, and Jude's doing a good job getting better each week, and we're gonna take what the defense will give us and take advantage of some of the things we see on film and kind of go from there.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, thank you.
As you can see, Coach Briley's really excited about these next 2 weeks here. Talked about a little bit that opportunity, and senior night is this Friday night here at Carper Field, so I asked him, what is those emotions, and you could hear his response there. So it's like, everything comes down to one game, right? Really, and you have 2 games left.
Yeah, I mean, like, have to get a win, right? I mean, I think everybody is familiar with how the playoffs works. If you're not, I mean, the short version is you got to get 5 wins to be playoff eligible. You got to get 6 wins to ensure you're in the playoffs. Mid Illini is a good enough conference. You would assume a 5-4 Mid Illini team would get into the playoffs, but there's an element of you don't want to leave any doubt.
Yeah, and there's still work to do, right? We have these 2 games left that we can both win very easily. So going to this preparation, you had the opportunity that maybe people don't really know about, but we have football practice at 6:15 a.m. on Thursdays. What is that mindset? Why? Explain.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of shocked if you're wandering by, maybe you're driving by in the morning on a Thursday morning, heading to work or heading to get some coffee or whatever. It's like, why is the stadium lit up? And so basically the mindset is extra prep time in terms of rest, right? So we're going to take a little bit of a step here and watch a short feature that I put together that kind of explains Coach Brilli's mindset with this 6:15 a.m. practice. So take a look at this, folks.
Welcome to the field, your 2022 Wharton High School Varsity Potter.
Everyone is familiar with the sights and sounds of a game at Carper Field. The fans in the stands, the band playing the school song, and those Friday night lights lit up. But if you've been around Wharton High School in the last year and a half, you may have noticed some Thursday morning lights. Yep, the Hogs have started hitting the field on Thursday morning at 6:15 a.m. It's all part of a plan from Coach Tim Brilli and his staff to allow players more recovery time. Most high school teams wrap up their Thursday practice around 5:30 p.m., essentially allowing the players 26 hours of rest before a game. The Hogs wrap up at 7:15 a.m., giving the squad more than 36 hours of rest before they play on Friday night. The hope for Coach Brilli and the staff is that extra rest, thanks to the Thursday morning lights, provides a little extra juice to sprint into the end zone on Friday night and let the Hogs celebrate victory.
He's headed for the end zone, and it's called a touchdown. I wasn't sure he made it, but he did. 13 yards.
Wow. Well, thanks for Ryan. I mean, that really kind of sums it up right there as to why. Everybody, Simon Sinek's got the favorite books, start with the why. That's why we do it. So obviously, the more rest that we can give our players, that ability to, just get them fine-tuned for Friday Night Lights is what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think the kids like it. I mean, maybe initially when we first started it, there was a lot of groaning, like, you're going to make us show up at 6:15. But I think in retrospect, or like having done it for a year and a half now, players have adjusted to it where they enjoy the extra time off on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, rightfully so. Well, do you have any final thoughts, Coach?
No, I mean, just kind of the same thing, say every week, folks get a chance to get out to some games. I mean, I'm gonna sort of push the postseason angle here, right? I mean, almost every sport is in the postseason starting either this weekend, next week, or the following week. So, it's the best time of the year. I mean, I think from a coaching standpoint, from a player standpoint, from a media standpoint, we all love the postseason. And from a fan standpoint, if you can get out and take in a postseason matchup, I highly encourage that.
Totally agree. And senior night is this Friday night, 6:30 or 7:30 p.m. at Carper Field. Obviously, get out and support our Hogs there, so as we can get them playoff eligible would be a big thing. So for Ryan Lindley, I'm Eric Myers. Until next week, guys. Thank you very much.